Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. And who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Conor Benn. Yes, Conor Benn, with all his controversy, will, I suppose, soon be back in the ring. He's already making claims of who he would like to fight next, and that's exactly what this video is about. Really quick, if you like the channel, please take the time right now to subscribe if you have not already done so. And if you have done so, please tell a friend, share the content. And also, while you're at it, if you could hit that thumbs up button, it really does help, and support the channel. Now, this video, like I said, is about Conor Benn and the, I suppose, fantasy matchups that he's already conjured up in his mind. And what I'm going to do is go down this list of opponents from least likely to most likely. So without further ado, let's get started. He would like to fight, Conor Benn would like to fight Manny Pacquiao. Now, this is on the spectrum of definitely not going to happen. I don't see any way, shape, or form why this would even happen. Yes, Manny Pacquiao has come back to boxing, but he's coming back doing exhibition fights. However, he has stated that he would like to fight some real fights like Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, and also a rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. But Conor Benn feels like he's a big enough star in boxing and has enough star power that he could provoke Manny Pacquiao to get in the ring with him. Now, I don't know why he feels this. I don't know why he feels like he's done anything significant enough in the ring or had significant enough bouts in the ring to draw such a fight. Manny Pacquiao is a legend. I understand why Conor Benn would like to fight Manny Pacquiao. I'd like to fight Manny Pacquiao. I know I'm going to make a lot of money. I know I'm going to have a lot of eyes on me. And if I beat him, I beat a legend, and that name goes on my resume. But you're going to be fighting a 40-something-year-old man who hasn't fought in 2 years or something like that, 3 years. And then when he came back, he fought an exhibition fight against a guy who he literally was toying with. And he wasn't in any shape. So that being said, I seriously doubt that's going to happen. I seriously doubt Manny Pacquiao either would get the memo, or if he did get the memo, I'm pretty sure it would go straight to his trash or his spam. So that's not going to happen. Next on the list is Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, lately, Gervonta Tank Davis and Conor Benn have been going back and forth, in which case Conor Benn was saying, can you just stay out of jail? In which case Tank responded with, can you stop having people poke you in the rear, make you stronger? Now, Gervonta Tank Davis has since been vindicated. He was clear and free of all charges. He did not do what was suspected that he did. So he's an innocent man. You, on the other hand, Conor, you definitely had traces of things in your body that you should not have had. So he was right in his assumption in what he said to you. You were not right in what you said to him. That being said, what's the likelihood of this fight happening? Well, Gervonta Tank Davis has already stated he's not planning on sticking around in boxing very long. Also, that he has a hit list. The Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. Possibly a rematch with Isaac Cruz, Pitbull. There's no reason on this green earth why we need to see Gervonta Tank Davis and Conor Benn fight. Now, I'm not mad at it if I were to see it, but the likelihood of it is very low. The reality is Conor Benn was fighting at 147, and he was going to go up to 158 or something like that to fight Chris Eubank Jr. So now he's going to cut all the way back down because Tank isn't going any higher than 140. So you're going to go all the way back down to 140. Maybe if you meet at a catch weight, 142? Possibly 144, 145. That still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It makes zero sense. And when Conor Benn was doing 147, he darn near looked like a skeleton. So the likelihood of these two fighting is very low. If they were to fight, I would still actually favor Tank. Conor Benn, see, here's the thing. With the steroids in his system, you don't know what fights Conor Benn won and what fights Conor Benn didn't win. That's the issue when I speak about him, which is why, and I do love Conor Benn, which is why I've refrained from making videos about him. But if they were to fight, I would say that Conor Benn hits harder than Tank, or they're definitely equal in power. However, Tank is faster. He's coming from a smaller weight. He's definitely going to be faster. He's way more knowledgeable in the ring, higher boxing IQ. He's fought more experienced guys. I mean, come on. It would still be Gervonta Tank Davis. He has much better footwork, However, Conor Benn is good at cutting out the ring, and he could definitely bully the situation. But I do think Tank is a very smart fighter. And the reality is, when Tank fought Rolly was basically a full-on welterweight. And look what he did to him. And I believe he could do the same thing with Conor Benn. So there you have it right there. Now, who's next on the list? In the realm of the more likely, Kell Brook. Kell Brook has retired, but Kell Brook is kind of those, I got one foot in, I got one foot out. Well, I got one thought in and one foot out. And I think with the right matchup and the right amount of money, I think he could be enticed back in the ring. Now, what this does for Conor Benn, absolutely nothing. Kell Brook is a good fighter. Well, was a good fighter. But the reality is he was never an elite. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was never an elite. So it's just like, what exactly does this do for you? Nothing really. Because Conor Benn likes to say, well, I fought the guys that the Sean Porters and Errol Spencers have fought, and look what I did to him. He always loves to brag about the Formello fight. And he said, well, Sean Porter couldn't get him out of there. Sean Porter was coming out of the pandemic and was rusty. And Sean Porter just needed rounds. Sean Porter won, 12 out of 12 rounds. And beat Formello from this end to that end. So what are you saying? But that's Conor Benn's argument. He likes to make that argument from time to time. Well, I did something to this guy that, Earl Spence couldn't do or Terrence Crawford couldn't do to him. Yeah, so sure. But the reality is you're fighting a much older, much more battle-worn Kell Brook if you were to fight him. And I think that match could actually be made. I'm not saying that it can. It's the UK. It would be big. Kell Brook has a nice little following. Conor Benn does have a nice little following. I don't know what his following would be coming back after all that has taken place with him. I don't know. But I do know the Ben name is strong, and it's a very honorable name. And I think if for nothing else, people would show up for the Ben name. I do see Conor Benn beating Kell Brook. I see that happening. I can foresee that happening. I don't feel like it'll be a knockout or anything, but I can see that happening. But then again, both of them haven't fought in a while. So who knows? Maybe, I don't know. Kell Brook looked actually really good in his last fight. So, granted, he had an opponent that wasn't really fighting back with Amir Khan. And Amir Khan flat out said that on his way to the ring, he didn't even want to be there. So when you have a guy who doesn't want to be there, and you have a guy who wants to be there and then wants to smash your face into a million pieces, yeah, I'm going to go with the guy who wants to smash your face into a million pieces. But I don't know. Because, again, I don't know how much of Conor Benn we've actually seen. And I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it for the first time in the same sentence with Conor Benn. Clean. I don't know how much we've seen of Conor Benn clean. So I don't know what he can really do clean. I don't know what he's going to look like if there's nothing in his system. I don't know what his body's going to look like. I don't know if he's going to be as jacked or as muscled when his body is clear of everything in his system. I don't know. I don't know if he'll have the same speed. I don't know if he'll have the same power. I don't know. I don't know if he'll perform the same way. I don't know. I don't know if he'll have the same ferocity. I just don't know. None of us know. So that's a big question mark. We do know what Kell Brook brings to the ring. Kell Brook has a very basic but very solid boxing skills. Kell Brook is very strong. He's pretty much a tank. He can box. He has a great jab. Okay footwork. I think it'd be an interesting fight. I do think it'd be competitive. I don't want for any moment or give the inclination at all that I think Conor Benn could run through Kell Brook. I think if anything, age will be as much a factor in this fight as Conor Benn's skill setting against Kell Brook. Lastly, we have the man that we all wanted to see Conor Benn fight, Chris Eubank Jr. What is the likelihood of this fight? Well, I will start by saying that Chris Eubank Jr., if this fight is going to take place at some time in the near future or just in the future, he's definitely going to be the A side. Everything, he's definitely going to be calling shots. I can tell you right now that fight will not be at 157 or 156 or whatever the heck they had it at. It won't be that. It'll at least be 160. And he'll have the opportunity to fully hydrate after the weigh-in. You know, maybe he can hydrate up to 165 or something like that. In which case, I already said that Chris Eubank Jr. could wipe the floor with Conor Benn. I love Conor Benn. I'm sorry. I like Conor Benn, but the reality is we're talking about skills, and Chris Eubank Jr. has a lot of skills. And you're talking about a guy who basically trained himself for the majority of his career. And he is pretty accomplished and has gone pretty far with him training himself, him just being disciplined and being on himself to get in that gym and train. You're talking about his natural attributes, his speed, his footwork, his that jab, that triple hook, that triple jab, the body work of Chris Eubank Jr. I just don't see any way, shape, or form that Conor Benn could have ever gotten with Chris Eubank Jr. Honestly, and this is not to be like a slight against anybody, but if you want a Conor Benn to be competitive against a healthy 100% Chris Eubank Jr. who's hydrated, Conor Benn would have to be on some sort of PED to compete with him. The speed, the power, the tenacity of Chris Eubank Jr., I just do not see that happening. Unfortunately, when I look down the list of possible opponents for Conor Benn, the ones that he's presented, I don't not only think he can beat any of these guys, but the likelihood of him fighting any of these guys outside of Chris Eubank Jr. and Kell Brook, slim next to none. Slim next to none. And the reality is, how many people are going to trust you getting back in the ring? So it's also a factor of who would want to fight you at this stage. You're kind of like damaged goods. You know, at this present time, you're fighting for the respect of your name because we all think that you're a cheat. That's the truth of the matter. So that's that. You tell me what you think about this list, and you tell me how you think Conor Benn would match up with anybody on this list. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, you know me. I'd love to read what you have to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.